31st of October 1986, 7:30 p.m. I'm a firm believer in the fact that human beings were never meant to do factory work. The problem is, I suppose, that if we continue to insist on having those microwave ovens and custom kitchens, it doesn't leave us with much choice. I remember the first day I worked at the factory, looking at my watch expecting it to be near dinner time and finding it was only 9 o'clock. Even the first break where I had to learn to drink a hot cup of tea within 10 minutes was a whole hour away. As the years went on and I learnt the ropes, I got into the habit of going to the toilet at 9 o'clock to break the monotony, either by just sitting or reading a page of the newspaper I'd folded and put in my pocket that morning. I noticed some lads who actually took drugs to get them through the boredom, but I never thought of that as a top idea. Neither was wanking. That was what I was doing on one of my unofficial 9 o'clock breaks when Foster, the boss, noticed I was missing from my bench in the stores. The first I knew about it was when I became aware of a pair of black, shiny shoes stopping outside the toilet cubicle in a position indicating that the owner was pressing his ear against the door. "Peach, are you in there?" "Yes," I said, quietly folding up the Samantha Fox picture I got from that morning's sun and shoving it back in my pocket. "Are you ill?" "No." "Then shift your arse out here and get back to your bench. We're not paying you to crap." "No," I thought, "you're paying me to wank." I flushed the chain and did up my trousers. It was only after I'd fastened the green overall that I realised it was doing an impression of a magician performing that trick where a floating ball dances under his cloak. "Martin," called Foster, "get yourself out of there now." With my back to him, I did this side-to-side crab walk to the sink. "I just need to wash my hands, Mr. Foster. Health and safety and all." When the primary school headmaster had given the boys only sex talk, he had recommended for ridding yourself of an unwanted erection, something I had never experienced until this point, the act of washing your hands in cold water. It didn't work. I dried them on a paper towel as slowly as I could in order to buy time, but there was no change. I had to walk back through a load of sniggering circuit board assemblers, and if I had a penny for every shop floor worker who came to the hatch that afternoon complaining I'd only issued them with a 2-inch knob, I'd never need to work again. One of my teachers once wrote in my report that I had a natural sense of justice. Although when I told Jo this, she suggested it should have read a sense of natural justice. Don't get me wrong, I'm not nasty. I just can't stand it when people are and they don't get what they deserve. It's as if they've upset some sort of natural order of things that needs to be put right, a disturbance in the force. It came for Foster almost 1 year later. At weekends, Mrs. Foster liked nothing better than to be driven out to quaint country villages, eat in quaint country cafes, meet quaint country people and insult them. So on the day that the travelling book salesman came, Foster had placed an order for the English Rural Scenes calendar. "This'll give us some ideas," he said, admiring the picture of Matlock Bath on the cover. Quite by coincidence and in complete contrast, I had got hold of a calendar called Bitches in Leather. Swapping them was easy, taking the stiff white envelope from Foster's desk and sliding one calendar out and the other in. The rest depended upon Foster not looking inside the envelope again, going home that night and saying, "Hello, darling, I've got something for you. I thought it might give you some ideas." The next day, Foster said nothing, but I could tell by his bloodshot right eye and the bruising around it that my plan had worked. But the poisonous look I got told me he had somehow worked out who the culprit was, and that my days at the factory were numbered. And that's why I'm standing on a wet pavement outside an old folks' home in North London. I managed to get a bit of a kip on the train, long enough to miss the concrete cows at Milton Keynes, but I'm still knackered from last night's drinking marathon. A thick fog is creating small droplets on my glasses and distorting the glare of the yellow streetlights. I feel like the priest arriving in The Exorcist. "By the way," said Jamie as he dropped me off, "when you meet Kevin, your new flatmate, don't ask." "Don't ask what?" He said nothing but gave me a wicked grin as he closed the dented door of his green Mini and drove off. Jamie wasn't what I'd expected at all. Most bosses I know wear ties, but Jamie was dressed like a hippie. I shook his hand anyway when he met me at the tube station. As he did that, a pile of underpants fell through the broken zip of my bag into a puddle. Saved the day, though. Cracked a joke about being care in the community. I think that broke the ice. Don't ask what?